Hi everyone, welcome back to The Whole Truth. I'm Gillard Bell, your attorney at law. And as I said before, whenever I see that none of my friends are doing a live, I want to do one. And so I wanted to do one about, I saw some clips of Baron Coleman on Julian Dorey, and it seemed like I wanted to watch more of it. Now it's 3.5 hours long. So there's absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to watch all of it, but I hopefully will be able to watch a lot of it. So let's get started.
Baron, you're the most requested guest I have maybe ever had in my life. I've never seen so many people DM me and comment to have you on, so thank you for being here.
I appreciate you having me. I had no idea. I had no idea. You told me that when we talked on the phone, and I thought, why?
I mean, I think that, listen, you have covered this case 3 to 4 times a week for hours at a time since, and we're talking about the Charlie Kirk case, obviously, basically since right after September 10th when he was killed. It is obviously a case that, to say it's a mess would be putting it lightly, and there have been a lot of narratives put out there that people...
Why is it a mess? I don't get this. How is this a mess? This is one of the clearest cases based on ample evidence that I've ever seen. How is this a mess? So it's already getting started on the wrong foot to me, but whatever.
People are right to question. And I think because, like, in speaking with people before I was really, really familiar with you, because of the depth that you have gone into it and looked at it as a litigator, which is your background, I think people have a lot of respect for that. And they're like, hey, we've seen so many times before where major cases happen and it's clearly just to sweep it under the rug. And years later, people still talk about it like, what the f? And now we're living through it and people don't want to make that mistake again.
You're talking about like JFK?
Of course, that's the number one example, but plenty of them. MLK, which was down south by you as well, you know?
Yeah, RFK, even cases people don't think about, like Ronald Reagan getting shot, probably a cover-up.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What makes you say that? I don't know as much about that one.
I'm not prepped to talk about it, but anyway, yeah, it's a cover. I don't want to get myself in any more trouble than I'm already in.
Why do you think they do this over and over again throughout history? Like, even
Kill
after
people?
they not just kill people, but cover it up so blatantly in so many of these cases you just mentioned.
Because
afterwards.
they can. There's no one to stop them. I mean, what are we going to do about it? Even if they came out and said, "Yeah, we killed Charlie Kirk," get over it.
I'm already really frustrated. Why do you think who's they? Give some evidence. Give some evidence. Not just gut feelings, not just questions, evidence.
What are we going to do about it? I mean, most people are going to go back to work the next day. They're going to go to their kids' volleyball game. They're going to pay their mortgage. They're going to pay their power bill. They're going to watch the Braves, and they're going to wake up the next day and do it again. So why would they worry about it? There are no consequences. They've proven time and time again they can get away with it. So why bother?
But if they ever admitted it, like with some of the other ones, they've never outright admitted, like, yes, we did this.
Well, they, like Operation Northwoods, they admitted they were going to do it, blow up an airliner.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, they have admitted things in the past, and nobody rioted over that. Nobody tried to overthrow the government. Nobody voted anybody out of office. Life just went on. Everybody woke up the next day and went to work.
Hey guys, 3 quick things. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's a huge, huge help. Number 2, if you'd like to join my Patreon, showed, like, I saw you.
And I said, what did they say? And he said, nobody believes he did it.
Believes he did it at all.
Yeah, nobody believes Tyler Robinson did it. And I asked him why, and he gave me reasons why. But
I believe he did.
But what, UVU students aren't out rioting in the streets. They're not skipping classes. They're not demanding justice.
Because
they're just
you're
waking
lying.
up the next day and
Lots
going to
of people
biology.
believe he did it.
So why do you do what you do?
I'd like to find the answer.
No, he does what he does because he's making a ton of money. That's what I think. Now, I could be wrong. He could just be an idiot. But my guess is he's making a lot more money now than he was making before.
I think it'd be really interesting to take a case like this that's been crowdsourced investigated, run it all the way down to the end and see where it goes. It's really never been done in real time.
As far as like a major assassination goes, like for a public figure.
Yeah, for a public figure.
Right.
Like, you had the Karen Reed case, people talked about it.
Right.
Last night on my show, I covered Adnan Syed, but that was 22 years later that people ran that down.
Right. That was like one of the original podcasts.
Yeah, well, it was one of the original big true crime podcasts. Yeah.
That case was crazy because he was an unknown guy, and it showed like I saw your intro on that, I think 2 nights ago on the live, but like, as an unknown guy, I remember that case very well, to where he was rotting away in prison for a long time, and then literally just because that one lady, I forget her name, but decided to do that podcast series and like bring it in a conversational way to people, it ended up changing the outcome of the case, which is pretty crazy to see the power that had early days of podcasting.
Yeah, her name's Sarah Koenig. It was the Serial podcast, and she deserves an award. I mean, she changed that, not just that one kid's life, but she changed the power structure when it comes to podcasting, because all of a sudden average people on the street said, you know what? I've got a computer. I've got spare time. This case doesn't look right. So maybe I should open my computer and start looking at property records and looking at maps and looking at timelines. And, that's the last thing you want if you've covered up a crime successfully. The last thing you want is hundreds of thousands of people opening up browsers every day and going, what can I find today?
Yeah. Do you think it's because the context you were bringing it up obviously was related to like all the shit people get for looking into the Charlie Kirk thing, but do you think it's also crazy that a guy is killed extremely publicly who also happened to be well known, that people just seemingly don't want to they want to close their eyes and be like, you know what, he's dead, that was horrible, let's move on, when in reality there could be something way deeper to it?
There could be, but we haven't seen any evidence, Julian. Your naivete is really disappointing that you have such followers, but such a big following. But it's okay. I encourage skepticism here, but let's get to the evidence, okay? Again, I can't watch this.
If you're asking me, do I think there's an incentive for the average person to look away? I think there's a huge incentive for the average person to look away. The consequences of Charlie Kirk being killed. Well, it's a binary decision. It's a binary choice. You have two choices in this case. You can have Tyler Robinson alone, and if it's not Tyler Robinson alone, it is one of the largest conspiracies to murder someone in the history of the world.
Why? How is it that binary? Why couldn't it just be 2 people or 3? Why
it is a multinational conspiracy. It is a multi-organizational conspiracy, and it goes to the very top of every organization.
See, this is what we call false binary. Either Tyler Robinson acted alone, or it's a multinational, multi-organizational, largest conspiracy in history. That's a fallacy. It could also be that Tyler Robinson acted with 1 or 2 other people.
It's not a situation where you can say, well, maybe TPUSA got together and decided to kill Charlie Kirk. Well, TPUSA can't get the crime scene covered up. TPUSA can't get the Utah County Sheriff's Office and the Washington County Sheriff's Office to commit to a story about when Tyler Robinson turned himself in. TPUSA can't get the FBI to show edited footage in a certain way to make it look like Tyler Robinson did it. TPUSA can't get Tyler Robinson impersonators walking all over campus in maroon shirts. So it's not a situation where any one organization could pull it off. This is a massive organizational effort, a massive multi-organizational effort, or it's Tyler Robinson. And so I think a lot of people look at that and say, ugh, I don't want to understand the consequences of that. I don't like the consequences of that. So therefore, I'll just accept Tyler Robinson did it and I'll move on with life.
Do you think there's
I mean, again, it's a false binary, but I'll agree that if all those organizations and entities are involved in the cover-up, if there are doubles and Washington County in Utah Sheriff Station and the FBI and all these organizations were involved, then yeah, then it would be a massive conspiracy. And so I do agree that either you believe this really convoluted conspiracy, or you would say Tyler Robinson acted alone. But actually, I take that back, because again, it could just be Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs acted together. And that, but here's the thing: is that if it was Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs, I would think that Tyler would be singing like a canary. It's not necessarily the case. Maybe he has some sort of pact with Lance and other people, saying if they were involved. But usually these criminals would be singing like canaries. So, anyways, I already see some fallacious thinking here by presenting this false binary, either Tyler Robinson alone or this massive multinational, which I don't even get why it has to be multinational. I know that everybody has to bring Israel into it, and Candace Owens is choosing to bring France into it because she has a problem with France, obviously, right now. But I don't see any other reason why it would have to be a multinational conspiracy. And if anything, that's just more convoluted, less explicable, and just stupider.
Possibility that he did do it?
Yeah.
It's just him?
Yeah.
You think that's
I'm open to the fact that Tyler did it. Probably more than other people covering it. I don't think.
Okay, well, let's give Barron some credit there. Let's give Barron some credit here, because Candace hasn't come that far, and he says he's open to Tyler Robinson doing it. I'm gonna give him some credit for that.
It's likely. I think starting with the gunshot wound, you have very serious issues that I frankly almost refuse to accept. Injuries that now in the last couple of.
So he's saying that he doesn't buy Dr. Eric Christensen's medical examination report. Dr. Eric Christensen has been practicing medicine for over 20 years. You could look him up. He's testified in other trials that you could find on YouTube. He has a very good CV. It doesn't mean that he's incapable of lying, but I think that you're going to have to bring more to bear than just saying that some anecdotal experience about a 30-06, you would expect an exit wound. Let me tell you something else. What doesn't make any sense to me, and I think that this is a good point, and Paramount Tactical, Gary Melton brings this up, is that it's kind of stupid. It's not impossible, but it's stupid to think that this crazy multinational, as Baron Coleman puts it, multi-organizational, sophisticated, complex conspiracy F's up when it comes to what type of gun they plant. Don't you think they would get that right if they're going to put this whole together?
Days have come out that seem entirely inconsistent with a 30-06 wound to the neck. But I'm open to it. I'm open to being wrong on the nature of those injuries. I'm open to being wrong on the fact that it doesn't look like there's a 30-06 on the roof on the video footage we have, but maybe there is. Maybe he was holding it some weird way. What I'm not open to is people refusing.
On one hand, and I'm not going to, straw man Barron here, but on one hand, we hear Candace saying that the footage on the roof is so poor that it's impossible to discern anything. And now he's saying that it's possible to discern that doesn't look like a 30-06. That would seem like a pretty, granular observation of the footage. Oh, hi, Mother Earth. Thank you. You're my only watcher right now, but maybe some other people will join in. I don't see anybody else doing a live stream, so I decided to do one.
To investigate. People looking the other way, people just accepting what the government says, saying, well, the government spoke on 9/11, the government spoke on JFK, right. The government spoke on RFK, the government spoke on Martin Luther King.
Yeah, and the government, what did the government get wrong about 9/11? Is that Israel did it? Is that where we're going to go with that again? Always with the Israel, always with the Jews, because nobody else is capable of doing anything except the Jews. Again, I'm not trying to straw man Barron. He hasn't said that yet. And
so don't tell me just to accept the government's narrative. If you have a reason to accept Tyler did it, that's fine. So let's examine those reasons. And then they start throwing out reasons. Oh, there's DNA. Oh, there's this, there's that. Okay, well, I have a problem with each of those issues. And we could take them, I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Okay, he has a problem with each of those issues individually, but I want to hear his problem with the totality of it.
Oh, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I figured we would.
It's just a little preview right now.
Yeah. But if you're going to tell me, oh, these are the reasons, here are the 5 stock answer reasons that I believe Tyler Robinson did it, and then I have a question on each one of those reasons, and you say, okay, we're done talking about it, go away, you're evil. That's crazy.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You know Ridge. They make amazing power banks, luggage, premium everyday gear, and wallets. And this year, for the 6th straight year, Ridge is back with their legendary sweepstakes. And this time, it's bigger than ever. From July 24th through September 8th, 2 lucky winners will get to choose between the Lamborghini Huracan Storado, a Ford Hennessy Velociraptor, a souped-up Ford Bronco, or $100,000 in cash. Y'all know I'm going with that Lambo if I have the option. But with any of those 4, you can't choose. There's only 1,500 Lamborghini Huracan Storados that even exist, and Ridge is giving you an offer to own one. It's a naturally aspirated V10 and has 610 horsepower. You imagine driving that thing around? And the Hennessy Velociraptor also has an insane 558 horsepower twin turbo. It's basically an American muscle car built into an all-terrain truck. Finally, the custom-built Bronco is coated in scratch-resistant Kevlar armor and riding high on massive 37-inch off-road tires. The best part of all, you can enter completely free at Ridge.com. And if you want to boost your chances, you can earn additional entries by picking up Ridge gear during the sweepstakes. Whether it's a power bank, wallet, luggage, or something else you've had your eye on, you'll earn extra entries with your purchase. You've heard me talk about the Ridge 2.0 wallet before. It's their most refined wallet to date and designed to pair perfectly with their new tracker card. So are you ready to upgrade your wallet and maybe even your ride? For a limited time only, head to Ridge.com, link in my description below, and use code Julian Dorey at checkout for 10% off your order and a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever. No purchase necessary to enter, but every dollar gets you more entries. So once again, that's Ridge.com, link in my description below, and use code Julian Dorey. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them I sent you. I've seen so much shit that it's hard to be surprised by things anymore, especially just even if you looked at the last 6 years alone. I could go way further than that, obviously, but even the last 6 years alone, it's really hard to be surprised by stuff. But I was telling you this on the phone, when they had the 5th day of that preliminary hearing, and I guess that was the day where they played the security cameras footage in the courtroom. They didn't release that publicly at the time. And all that, Deef and I were about to go on air for our weekend episode, and about 5 minutes before, the video of Jack Posobiec talking to the camera saying he just saw the whole thing. I watched Tyler Robinson walk.
Okay, this is common, and I mentioned this in my video earlier today, how to debate Candy cult members. They point to people that are in favor of the official narrative, and they point to something that they said that's false, whether that falsehood is intentional or mistaken. They point to that as evidence that the Tyler Robinson is innocent. So in other words, if I were to say something false, because I actually believe in the Fed slop, if I'm to say something false, they're going to point to me and say, oh, look, he said something false. Therefore, Tyler Robinson is innocent, or therefore the evidence is less significant. But that is fallacious reasoning. That's invalid argument. One does not follow from the other. Jack Posobiec can lie all he wants, and he could be in favor of the official narrative. Those two things are irrelevant from the case.
Up, line up the trigger, pull the trigger, do the whole bit, saying it with a very straight face. Very good acting. I gotta give it that. But, he goes through this, and I've never liked that guy at all. But Deep pulled up the video, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I saw some clips of this, and there's no way that I'm going to get through 3.5 hours. I have to get back to my family and other things, but I did see some clips of Baron Coleman on Julian Dorey, and so I wanted to address some of it. Hopefully I get to those clips, because I don't know where they fall in line here. But again, whenever I feel like I want to comment on something and I see that none of Artie or anyone else is putting up a live, that's when I decide to go ahead and go live. Hopefully we'll get to it. But thank you, Motherboard. Yeah, my thing about Baron Coleman is I think he's doing this for the money. I think that, again, if I were to come out and start saying all the conspiratorial stuff, I would be getting a lot more followers and subscribers. But I go where the evidence is. Almost time for bed. Well, stick around for as long as you can, Jen. But you're welcome. You're free to come and go as you please.
There were 200 people or whatever in the courtroom. I don't see how he'd lie about that, but I don't know. Is an Epstein Minors guy. We'll play it. So we played on the episode. Right when we get off the episode, Twitter's like, no, here's a video of the prosecution saying that video doesn't exist. No, that's not what happened. There were other people in the courtroom. Here's what they said they saw. I'm like, can we even get any modicum of truth here from fucking anybody at this point? It's just wild to me that people would be that brazen to do that.
It's not, though. If you're trying to plant the narrative, you have to have co-conspirators planning that narrative for you. It's interesting to me that Erica chose to take to court with her. She was given, 10 seats, 15 seats, whatever. She could have taken family. She could have taken friends. She took social media influencers. She took Brandon Tatum and Jack Posobiec and Graham Allen. And that's how they got in.
She brought them.
Yeah, they didn't have to camp out overnight. Everyone else in that courtroom was either media, had an allotted media slot, a member of Tyler Robinson's family, or had one of their slots, a member of Erica's family, or had one of her slots, or they had to camp
Who cares, Baron? Who cares?
out overnight. Jack Posobiec wasn't camping out overnight. He showed up in a Ferrari.
Does Ferrari. Pays well, I guess. Be a spokesman.
Well, I mean,
like that.
you might be able to make a living being a paid hack. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never tried it.
Here's the difference, though. In 1964, 65, in the
You see, that's projection.
years after JFK, TV was brand new. There was no internet. The government just saying, shut the fuck up, this is what happened. There was a lot more of an opportunity to do that. Now, with the power of people having one of these in their hands at all times just to capture everything, the idea that you could walk out of that courtroom and not think that there's going to be a million people fucking, a lot more than that as we turn out, refuting what you said based on other people who were in there who can have the same power to come out there and say what they saw. That's where I'm like, it feels like the Truman Show a little bit.
Yeah, I think they feel like they have so much money and power behind them that they can just roll over and crush the little guy. Crush the little guy.
Who's they, Baron? Stop saying they. Be specific. Who's they? Erica Kirk? Man up. Say who they are.
Guy's voice. So, Brandy Webb, Billy Siciliani, they were both in there. Those were two of the girls that came out and said, we just saw a blob. It could have been Bigfoot, it could have been a blob, it could have been a fat Chinese guy, it could have been Tyler Robinson. We just don't know. You can't tell. But they...
There's different footage. And maybe they were talking about different parts of the surveillance. Now, maybe Jack Posobiec is lying. I don't care.
They don't have millions and millions of influencers. They don't, millions and millions of followers. They don't have millions and millions of dollars behind them. What TPUSA has behind it is basically the full weight of the federal government right now. They are just they become another wing of the government, just like Heritage Foundation is. They're just another Heritage Foundation, a Heritage Foundation 2.0. And Charlie Kirk had a mission. It was to take economic libertarianism to college students. Charlie's gone, and that mission is completely gone.
It's gone.
It's completely gone. All they're doing now is taking whatever mainline Republican talking points exist, and they're just pushing it out to the boomer class that's watching Fox News. That's all they're doing. And the question is, why do they even exist? What's the point of an organization that's doing that? We have organizations that do that. We have Fox News.
Baron, shut up about TPUSA. You have no idea what they're doing. You don't have any authority on the topic. Talk about the legal matters.
We have Heritage Foundation. Why do we need TPUSA to do the same thing?
Right. When you talk about them being a wing of the federal government, I think you make a good point. There's a lot of these kind of think tank type places that'll be attached at the hip to the government over time, and now in recent years we're able to actually see that. But what about all the people in government, within the federal government, who are like from the left side of the aisle and don't...
1 second, everybody. Okay, everyone. My real job being a daddy has come up, and so I'm calling it quits. I'm going to try and finish this up another time. This will be like part one of multi-episodes, because this is 3.5 hours, putting it at 1.5 speed, and it's still hasn't even gotten to the evidence after 15 minutes. It's just Baron Coleman talking out of his ass, Julian Dorey saying, I'm very suspicious about everything because I'm so, clever. So anyways, I'm going to finish this up another time. Good night. Stay sane. Check me out. Subscribe. Share. Yeah, TPUSA is not part of the federal government. It's just a stupid talking point. Good night, everyone.